Okay, now I had spray painted the door, and this is what it looks like all dried after a few days. That's just a reflection from the mirror. And I think I have found the solution of how to have the ease of spray painting your car, but without the streaks. So I am planning on demonstrating this, or, well, you know, that was the test. I'll see if I can do it again. But I'm planning on doing the whole back today. Bumper. And this side. And I will show you how I managed to do that, and we'll see if it happens again. And if it does happen again, then I have found my way of doing the painting without streaking. So, on another note, I think I am definitely going to have to do some repairs. This is some of my duct tape's coming up, so I'm going to have to do something about that. But at least it happened before I actually started painting. Hello, folks. Well, spray painting your car. Now, you know, when you first start, you're thinking about maybe spray painting your own car. You know, there's pretty much two techniques that I have found. There's the paint roller method. This often requires, mixing the paint a lot of times with paint thinner. The reason why generally is that people are trying to delay how fast the paint dries so that they can mix it in better. I've never actually tried that method. I figured, well, I may not have to paper too much. Though actually, even with spray painting, I find that if I cut the car into threes, I don't actually have to spray paint, or I don't have to prepare quite as much as I did when I was trying to just do the top of the car, which was at the time the priority. So I thought the paint roller method was going to be more of a pain as far as, you know, maybe you wouldn't have to prepare as much as far as, you know, putting down newspaper, but all that mixing and you know, all the other stuff I thought was going to be really annoying. And a lot of people do claim, well, spray painting is a lot easier. You know, you're just going, you know, well, you're not quite doing it like that. But no matter how good you are, and you know, spray painting does require a lot of times very good conditions, which you may not always have ideal conditions, you know, like with me. I don't want to paint my car in the summer. For one thing, summer has high humidity, so it would take a lot longer for the paint to dry. There's more rain in the summer, and I'm in more danger of heat stroke in the summer. So I wanted to do it in the fall, winter time to paint the car. Well, in the fall, winter time, we have a little less rain. We have some, and but we have more wind, and wind is definitely not your friend when you're spray painting. This is the worst job I have done. Now, admittedly, the roof is hard because I had to be on a step ladder to do it. That was the worst. But even when I was doing I thought, a pretty good job, I still had streaking. And streaking is the real problem with spray painting. It is a lot easier, but no matter how much you try to overlap, I find streaking's just very difficult not to avoid. You know, so I was actually considering the paint roller method when because this is just the primer right here. And I was like, well, maybe I need to go to the paint roller method, because of course I'm going to try to get the paint job to look really nice. And I don't want streaking. But then the thought occurred to me, what is it about the paint roller method that doesn't, you know, prevent streaking, or, you know, gives a better look perhaps? And I thought, what if it's just having a paint roller? And so I did an experiment where I spray painted the car, but then I went over it with a roller, and I got a much better result. Now, you'll be seeing some things, like you'll see this here. That is from me taping the door. That wasn't there originally. But I think even though this is a few days old, and it's gotten some scratches already, you can see, I think, a much nicer look. Streaking is really, really reduced. And I mean, compare it to this, which wasn't the worst. This was actually a better job, and it's definitely an improvement over this, which was my worst job. I did this yesterday, and did get a little bit of streaking at the bottom, admittedly. I'm not saying that it's not going to streak at all. There is going to be, but it's hardly noticeable, and it really, really minimizes. It's to the point it's almost barely noticeable. And this is the bumper, which I did today. The bumper was a little more difficult. Bumpers are really difficult, actually, but I think it, you know, it's still not quite as bad as it could have been. So I think I have found the trick to how to have the ease of spray painting without you know, but minimize your streaking. And I am going to show that to you today. Let me position the cameras just so, maybe I'll get you in closer now. I had forgotten my tripod earlier. Okay, so there we are. I have to shake up my can again, and then I'll get back with you. Okay, here's some clacking. That's me doing my paint can in the background. What do you need? Well, pretty much all you need is a small paint roller. I think a small one is probably best. Now, they have some that are specifically, I think, for automobiles, which are a little longer and thinner. That's fine if maybe you're painting the car, but for my purposes, I found that this tiny one is good. It doesn't leave as much lint as you expect. It wasn't originally black, it was a light green. You find that with the, you know, the area where you paint your house. Very tiny roller is probably best. I chose this because it's the cheapest. It's only like $3 for a roll of two, you know, a package of 2 of these. You're going to want to have a new roll every time you spray paint, every day that you spray paint a new area. Now, I'm using this. I'll see how it does if it's getting, I feel, too old. But since I started out with it, I think it's going to be okay. But each day I put on a new roll. I don't wash them out and try to save them like I do when I do regular painting. Okay, so we got our paint shaken up. I'm going to put you over here. And yeah, you can see. Right? Okay. Now, when you're doing a wide area like this, I find at most you only want to do two streams, but you'll see what I'm talking about. I'm gonna kind of bring this down and then what I do is I go over it with the paint roller. Side to side is usually my first thing. I do that with the first one. Oh yeah. I go over the areas, the kind of awkward areas first. And I go over them with the paint roller. Now you do have to worry about scratching to some degree with the paint roller. Alright. when I paint, I try to go up to the former levels I've done, tried to blend it in, and go to the lower ones as well. If I don't feel the side to side is doing so well, then I go up and down. This is my first coat on this side. Yeah, I am going to have to see. I'll have to check. I don't know. It doesn't look like it's doing quite as good of a job. I might have to change my paint roller. But we'll see. What's nice about priming is that, yeah, this side is not getting quite as straight. Priming is really nice because it allows you to, yeah, this is a little embarrassing. This side is getting, yeah, this side's getting a little more streaking. I might have to change my roller. Yeah, guys, I need to change my roller. This one, I guess, is maybe too old. Excuse me, it's not really good for, this is kind of embarrassing. I was doing a demonstration and it's not working out for me. Alright, folks, I would say, you know, I'm doing this as I'm learning this as I'm going along. Priming is really a nice thing to do because I think it gives you a practice for when you get ready to do the actual thing. This is what my paint roller looks like with that before it's used. Probably it might be a good idea whenever you do each new large section to change your new paint roller. Fortunately, this was just my first coat. I'll be able to do something about the streaking a little later. Okay, so I've shaken this up for 3 minutes. This is okay, and we're going to see if this does a little better now. I might start doing it actually. Sometimes I've done it after the first roll, or I've done 2. But it's possible maybe it's drying a little faster now since it is, well, it's, you know, top of noon. So, so maybe that's why I was having a little more of a problem, though I think it is doing better now that I've changed the roll. And sometimes it's good, as I said, to go up and down after a few rolls. Yeah, I think that is doing much better. As I said, maybe if you do this a lot, you become an expert in spray painting. But I always find that I am constantly presented with new challenges. You know? I'll tell you one thing though, Folks at Home Depot think I'm up to no good with me buying all this spray paint. I think I've pretty much almost bought out all their gray primer. Yeah, this is doing much better, I think. And then on top of that, there's ripples in the car I was kind of surprised at. Well, I don't know. It is streaking just a little bit more on this side. I don't quite know why. Rather embarrassing that, but still, it's still not as bad as it is when I don't do the paint roller method. If I were just, it would probably be a lot worse if I didn't use the paint roller. And I'm not being good about shaking my can between uses. I guess this is kind of like, one difficulty with this is it's kind of like walking and rubbing your stomach and tapping your head. It's a little challenging. Okay, at this point, actually, maybe it's just better if I break this up into twos. When you're dealing with a shorter section, you can sometimes put on more rolls, or, more rows, I mean. I go over to here. Oops, damn. Yeah. If you're breaking things up in the tube, really focus on the area where it ends, because it tends to want to leave. Oops. Okay. It wants to leave a big circle. Okay. I've not had any problems with air bubbles, which is often a problem with people that paint with a roller. I don't quite know why, but it just doesn't seem to be a problem. I don't actually put on any type of pressure or anything. So, sorry, I thought I heard... thought my camcorder was dropping. I heard something move. In the end, I find that the up-down motion is a lot of times the most important. That's really... but the side's kind of good too, to do first. It can be a little hard to do it with these curved areas. There's always curves in a car. I didn't realize Selena had the type of curves she did until I started painting her. Okay. And I will do, this is the first coat of primer. Keep forgetting to shake my can. You're supposed to keep your, you should keep shaking your can. You know, spray can. You might be popular to shake your other can too, but okay. So it did start improving once I changed the brush, and I divided it into two, and I went over, I did less rows. Well, actually I did more rows once I broke it up in two. Hopefully I'll be able to fix this streaking with the second and third coats of primer. So I'll show you what it looks like. I'm kind of getting half on power with the camcorder, so I'm going to shut it off right now, and I'll show you the finished product.